Harnath, I'm directly going to come to you because what's clearly coming out really is that the whole concepts of the workplace and the workforce have significantly changed. Now, with this change really, what is your view given the benchmark of the first half of this year that we've already experienced with the disruption that we've had about how enterprise priorities are changing from the perspective of now coming leveraging the distributed workforce, uh, the decomposition of the workplace by itself, and yet hitting the right notes and making sure that revenue is sustained and enhanced over a period of time. How do you think organizations, in your perspective and outlook, are kind of functioning?
So Arjun, I think the concept of work, workplace, and workforce, I think the focus around these three pillars across an enterprise is not new, right? I think it's been there for some time. I think we've been talking about millennials, we've been talking about Gen Z coming into the workforce. We've always had the new generations flowing in with new ideas, new experiences of the past. I think that's something which has been driving some of the discussions for some time. But what has happened was in last 5 6 months since the time we've hit the pandemic, I think this has really accelerated the thinking in terms of which direction do we move. I think while we are trying to settle into the new normal, what we call as new normal, it's more of a pause to my mind. It's not a permanent shift that we are talking about. It's more of a pause which is going to be uh, fundamentally shifting the way we're going to be collaborating and working, right? I think that's a change that we are bringing. Only thing is this was to come, but this obviously got accelerated because of the current situation, right? I think we've been into it for almost 5 months now.
Indeed.
Many organizations, I think initially they had a bit of a struggle to settle in, but I think more or less, I think most of the organizations, especially knowledge industry or be it manufacturing, be it healthcare, I think most of them have now got used to the new ways of working, right? I mean, you've seen the adoption of telehealth. You've seen 100% of the employees of especially knowledge industry working from home. Manufacturing is again kind of happening with very very few workers. I think industrially IoT is kind of really doing a value add there. I think a fundamental shift is happening, but this was obviously was to happen, but it's happening much faster. So I think the key to all of this is to have a very frictionless enterprise, right? I mean, if you have a rigid organization which is not really susceptible to change in the changing circumstances, I think it's going to be difficult for any organization. So the key is to have a frictionless enterprise which can quickly adapt to any new circumstance, right? I think the current scenario has really taught us in terms of how to stay resilient in especially in whichever business you are in, right? Focus on business continuity. What used to be very, I would say, in the books or in the SOPs and policies as business continuity, people have really seen what business continuity means, right? I mean, unless you have invested into business continuity, you're not really there. Otherwise, you would have had difficulty in terms of continuing the business. And the idea is while you are dealing with the current situation, it's always important to stay upbeat in terms of technology, continue to innovate, because at the end of the day, we have also learned the hard way is that we are very very people dependent, right? The moment people didn't or people couldn't come out of their houses, people had to stay home. Organizations suffered. That means what is that is fundamentally needs to be changed, right? I mean, is it the people angle that needs to be looked at? Do we bring in technology where people were doing really, I mean, while you can't really change everything from a people point of view, but I think that there's a lot that can be done using technology wherever you have people dependency, right?
Very
And when
interesting.
you look at as an organization, you also have to look at your future strategy, right? I mean, if you want to continue with your revenue streams, if you want to continue with your business, I think you need to relook at your strategy, right, from a future perspective. You may have to relook at your business model itself. I mean,
Indeed.
look at
Indeed.
uh, look at the retail business, right? It's not anymore their retail. I mean, nobody is going to stores now, right? I mean, people are obviously ordering everything online. People are really trying to have that social distancing when they are purchasing the stuff or any transaction that they're doing. So e-commerce obviously picking up. So is there a fundamental shift in the way business needs to be done in e-commerce, restaurant business? I think everything is according.
Everything has changed, which is why I'm going to take that to Bob. And Bob, sitting out of Singapore, having a fair view across Asia, uh, Harnath made a couple of very interesting points. The whole concept of frictionless experience, the whole concept of organizations being willing to adapt to the concepts of change, considering that, well, if at all something that's been taught to us in the last 6 months, it has perhaps been changed. How do you kind of look, and of course, you spoke about the whole concept of innovation. When you kind of put all of this together, Bob, what in your view is perhaps the formula, if there is one at all, for organizations to leverage all of this, look at it as an opportunity, and yet drive seamless collaboration and drive productivities? Bob Batchelor.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, look, I do mirror what Hanath was saying, and so I don't want to repeat anything said there. So I might just expand out on that. And from what you're saying about how technology is used to really ensure the communication, connection, and productivity. So I think let's break this into a few parts. The very first thing is this situation isn't going away anytime soon, and we've had enough experience to understand how it can work in this remote environment, but how do we optimize that? So I think the first thing we've been mindful of ourselves is, when I say ourselves, Dell Technologies, is Michael Dell came out and said he doesn't expect anybody to be clocking in at 9 o'clock and finishing at 5 or 8:30 or 6:30, wherever you are in the world, and your predictive hours you're meant to work. What he's saying is he's going to base productivity on an outcome. Now, the outcome can be your objectives are met, your stakeholders are happy, your targets and quotas are met, and that you're also engaged. So these are the things that he's really focusing on. And as a leader within the organization, that's what he's asked us to do, is to make sure that people are using technology to ensure that they continue to sustain and improve on productivity if it's all possible, but mainly sustain. And I think Hanath also mentioned about that sustainability as being really important. But then how we use technology to keep people engaged, because now 5 months in, we're finding that there is some online collaboration fatigue. People are finding themselves maybe not engaged as much as they were. So there's other things that people are looking at to try and keep people engaged. Organizations are having sundowners or having online quizzes, or even one CEO at a startup, he had his senior leadership meeting from his bathtub, just to try and make it something different. And every time now when people join his meetings, they don't know where he's going to be or what costume he's going to be wearing. So just trying to liven it up a bit.